If you play video games, you're probably familiar with Undertale, whether you adore the game or despise anything to do with it. Undertale, developed by Toby Fox, was released on September 15th, 2015, and was an instant classic, with the entire game being both an homage to and parody of early RPGs like Final Fantasy and more notably Earthbound. It was hailed immediately as one of the best games of all time. Although its art style and combat system were beautifully nostalgic, its message and metaplay were something nobody had ever experienced before. Undertale is, like all games, something to primarily be experienced firsthand. Watching gameplay or listening to a friend talk about their favorite game just isn't the same as actually turning on that console and pressing every button and making every decision yourself. Undertale defines this concept, as decision-making is the core mechanic of the experience. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, Undertale is about a child that finds itself in a land of monsters, a frightening prospect at first until you realize that most monsters are simply living their lives, same as humans. However, there are some vital cultural differences between humans and monsters, and it is these differences that bring about the central conflict. The monsters need a human soul to return to the overworld and finish the war that was started long ago. Humans are stronger than monsters, though, and so you, as the child, find yourself in a position of power. You can act selfishly, or you can act selflessly. And really, those two options are the base of every step of the journey in Undertale. Undertale is special because it recognizes the player as an entity outside of the game world. Constant references are made to the player, so it's obvious that the fourth wall is a very important element in this game. Why though? Can't you just play through it, beat the bosses, and find all the different endings? No, absolutely not. Undertale's answer to this question is what gives it its claim to fame. In Undertale, you don't get to retry. You don't get a do-over. Sure, you may restart the game, but how many times can you restart before the characters start catching on? How many times can you kill a monster before you start seeing the effects on the world around you? Let's talk about killing, because death plays a central role in Undertale. From the beginning, the game tries to push the player to their limits. I remember watching my brother play for the first time, and after seemingly hundreds of monster encounters and going through the same monotony of catch and release over and over, he just quit the game. It was too frustrating. And I couldn't blame him. The game tries to frustrate you as much as it can because, quite simply, it doesn't want you to play. The characters in Undertale are content with their lives, and any ending you get will drastically change their world forever. It's in their best interest if you simply don't play Undertale. However, you are not a computer program. You are human, and humans have something monsters don't: determination. It is the driving force inside the player that dares them to keep playing, to trudge through, to finish what they started. Anybody who's played, though, can't deny that this game is incredibly discouraging. How long will you endure before you kill? After all, it's exponentially easier than figuring out how to spare every unique monster. Maybe you never gave a second thought to killing in the first place. After all, we never think twice when battling monsters in other games, like Pokemon. Maybe you tried for hours to get a certain ending, only to realize you can never go back to the way things were. This is why Undertale serves as such a beautiful metaphor for life. You should never think that you or your choices don't matter, because they affect the world in ways you might not understand. And when you can't endure the pain of trying again and again and again, and you finally buckle down and do the easier though wrong thing, there's no undo button. There's no going back. No amount of tampering with game files will change what you've done. But you can always get back up and make the most of what's ahead. Even when the future seems hopeless and you feel your sins crawling on your back, when you call for help but nobody came, you can continue. You have something that nobody can take away from you.